Moment of truth. The Snyder Cut.
They said the age of heroes would never come again.
It will. It has to.
Greetings, sir. This may concern Christian Aguilar here, back with another movie review. And in today's movie review, I'm going to be reviewing the movie Zack Snyder's Justice League. So, I feel like I have to do little to explain the entire story of the Snyder Cut because it was the internet itself that conjured up the idea of a Snyder Cut, and it just blew like wildfire everywhere. And up until the point where we finally got the movie. This is truly a historical moment. Really similar to how Deadpool was back in the day when it was only but just a video clip of CGI brought together like for a concept of what the film would be. And it was only because of the internet and people really wanting a Deadpool movie, an R-rated Deadpool movie, that it was able to happen and that it was able to be greenlit. And yeah, so when I saw the Snyder Cut fiasco on the internet, people were like, it's not real, other people saying it is real. I honestly wasn't a doubter, nor was I a believer. I wanted to sit back and just watch what would happen. I wanted to see what would happen because it reminded me again of Deadpool. And at the time, I just sat back and watched Deadpool. I'm like, it would be cool if they had a movie, and if not, maybe we'll just have to wait, you know? And when we got that movie, I was like, wow, that is amazing. The power of a fan base. So it's cool how fans did it for Marvel, and they did it for DC as well. It's like they're just sharing the love of wanting to see certain films. Because that's the fans, man. Like, we make the movies, technically. You know, we are the ones that go and see the movie. Make or break the movie. Those years, months of hard work to put into making a film could be for nothing if you don't have an audience for your film. So, yeah, the fans have a lot of power when it comes to making or breaking a film. And as a lot of people saw, fans can make films possible. So, thank you to the fans for giving us a 4-hour superhero film. 4-hour superhero film. Longest superhero film I can recollect is probably the director's cut of Watchmen and Endgame. Those are probably the two major long epics for superhero films. But now we can add Zack Snyder's Justice League to that list. Just so you guys know, if you haven't seen my trailer reaction for this film, in that video I mentioned how I never was able to finish the original, I guess not original, but like the cut up version of this movie that released in I should just say theatrical. I never finished the theatrical version of Justice League, the 2-hour cut that was just, you know, very I never ever finished it. I kept falling asleep and I tried not to, but I was able to stay up 4 hours straight in the couch with my dog next to me watching the Snyder Cut. And I can honestly say I did not get up once. I did not get up once, not even for a bathroom break. And I didn't look away. I didn't go on my phone. I didn't close my eyes. I didn't fucking like feel like moments where I'm like, oh, I'm pretty tired. It kept me awake. Now, I didn't feel like 2.5 hours. I'm not one to complain about long films, but you kind of still felt the length. It felt, you know, I felt like 3 hours to me. It felt like I was watching like Return of the King or something like that, you know. But I honestly still enjoyed myself. There wasn't ever a time where it felt like it truly dragged. I was so interested in every single scene because of course, scenes were familiar from trailers when the first theatrical cut came out, and I remember a lot of the like lines and jokes were just not hitting. Like Batman's "I'm rich," you know. I'm like, oh, Batman would not say that. He would just not say that, you know. And then some of the Flash jokes as well were a bit corny in the trailer I saw, and I'm like, oh, that turned away my attention towards the film. And I'm like, why are they writing these characters so terribly? But then, of course, you said through the Snyder Cut, those jokes, most of those jokes are still there, but they work. They surprisingly work because there's so much that you have to experience in order to get to those moments for them to actually hit. I'm probably going to try to keep this spoiler free because I'm going to do a full spoiler discussion with a couple of buddies of mine. We're going to have a huge Zoom meeting. We're going to have a discussion that's going to be on the Rendered Image, Tyler's channel. So his link is to his channel is going to be in the description below. But as of right now, I just want to say, like, with no spoilers, the beginning is fucking fast paced. However, it's dark. Like, it feels like a satire. Like, like how Infinity War was, where it's like, oh, they're gonna win, but then they don't. So it's like, that's how the beginning kind of feels. And so you feel like this whole sense of like a bit of dread until when it gets to like those funny moments, then it kind of like loosens you up a bit. It brings you back to a little lighthearted moment. And I felt like with that formula, it works. But I guess trying to make the entire Justice League movie like a comedy, like the first Avengers movie ultimately is, if you go back and rewatch, it's a whole bunch of like a series of jokes that don't work well without the pacing in between. So with the 4-hour cut, we get all the pacing we want that was intended. So all those moments do land for me. There was moments where I was like cracking up, mainly from Ezra Miller's Flash. Like, he was like, for me, the standout in this cut, because in the original one I just found him pretty annoying. I'm like, oh dude, come on, why are they doing Flash like this? But in this one I actually found him really relatable, really compelling, and really just enjoyable to watch on screen. He's clumsy like most humans. He's late even though he's the fastest man alive. That's part of his character. He's relatable to a lot of people. And so to really see this 4 hours, really dedicate that time to flesh out not only Flash but Cyborg as well. Cyborg was another standout in this film. I really, when watching this and watching the Cyborg moments, I'm really sitting there thinking to myself, man, I really wish they gave Cyborg his own film. Like, I really wish they centered Ray Fisher in a Cyborg movie and just like tell that story that they told in the Snyder cut. That was so awesome. That was really, really cool retelling of Cyborg's origin. But I do like how they kind of took from Justice League, I believe it was Justice League War, where the animated film was showing the first time the Justice League teamed up, and during that time Cyborg was being created, and he was kind of like dealing with himself for the first time. So I see where Zack Snyder probably got the inspiration to tell Victor's origin in Justice League, and so I admire that, because I really did like Justice League War. And so to see like similarities to this film, and there's a whole bunch of other similarities as well, it was pretty cool to see that play out. But man, I just couldn't help but feel like Cyborg could have got his own film, and it would have been awesome. But regardless, I really like what they did with the Snyder Cut. Ray Fisher did an amazing job with Cyborg. And along with that, I really like the Amazons versus Steppenwolf chase scene. Oh, man. Oh, wow. I was biting my nails for that entire sequence, because it was so entertaining. Like, right when they were all huddling around the box because they didn't know what the hell it was doing, and then Steppenwolf comes to the portal and attacks them all. Such a beautiful fight, man. Such an awesome battle scene. And I was just like smiling throughout the entire sequence. I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. This is so cool. Like, and that's the one thing about this cut. It's not afraid to get bloody. Like, it doesn't get overly gory. It's not like a gore fest or anything. Don't worry. But it's violent enough to make you feel like there's fucking stakes. And I'm like, whoa, that's cool. That's amazing. Like, to see Amazons get chopped up by Steppenwolf, I'm like, that's insane, And along with the Atlantis fight, him fighting the Atlanteans underwater was also a pretty cool scene. And his first standoff with Aquaman was also pretty cool underwater. So there was a lot, I'm just scratching the surface, but there was a lot of cool moments that I don't really want to truly get into without that discussion. I want to save a lot for the discussion. But man, there was just so many cool moments. So many cool. Like, I just can't help. I was always picturing an audience cheering behind me. I just really wish this was the cut that came out in theaters. I really wish people packed theaters and sat for 4 hours together and experienced that. But regardless, we got to experience it at the comfort of our own homes. We got to, yet we're still experiencing it together because we can all have these big discussions with one another. But man, this movie is just filled with a bunch of epic moments. and regardless with an audience or not, they still hit. I'm just so pleased with it. I enjoyed my 4 hours, like many people out there. So with that being said, Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, 2021. I'm going to give it an 8. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's not a full 10. A lot of films aren't perfect, but I felt like there could have been some moments where they could have been like explained a little better. Like, but what I meant by that is like mainly the beginning and end. It felt like the end just like cut to moments, just like, oh, let's just fast forward here, let's just cut to here. Now we're here. There wasn't really a feeling of cohesiveness when it came to the beginning and end. So I know the beginning started off with re-showing Batman versus Superman, the end events, and then it just cuts right into, I guess, present day or like whatever happened after, you know. It doesn't give you any like, oh, this is like a clear transition. It just cuts as if it's in the same scene, but then you have to realize like, oh, this is probably months later because everyone else is doing something else now, you know. So and then same thing with the ending. The ending just felt like a sequence of scenes that just were like piled on together. So like really he showed like 2 post-credit scenes before the credits. You know, that's what it kind of felt like. So it kind of felt a little close, but that's just nitpicking. That is nitpicking whatsoever. Everything in between is cohesive as hell. Like nothing feels like, oh, now they're suddenly here, now they're suddenly there. Everything feels like it works, you know. It's just that beginning and end that threw me off a bit. And of course, the aspect ratio. I'm not dissing the movie for the aspect ratio because this was a choice made by Zack Snyder because it was filmed on IMAX cameras and he was really obsessed with the size of the screen and he wanted to be like in a square so you can get like a full image. Technically, this aspect ratio is showing us more of the picture than the 2-hour one that's more horizontal. They had to crop in and get rid of some of the top and bottom of the Snyder Cut in order to achieve that, you know, HD full aspect ratio, you know. So the one we're all like used to, you know. So yeah, the black bars I know are a little off-putting to some, but it was off-putting to me when the opening logos were there. I'm like, oh no, is the whole movie like this? And then when I realized it's gonna be like that, it just slowly went away from me because the movie's that damn entertaining. The aspect ratio does not matter after a while for me, unless you're watching it on a phone or some computer maybe or some smaller device. I could kind of understand, but I watched it on a TV and I didn't have a problem after a while. It felt like I was watching a full screen. So yeah, with that being said, 8 out of 10. It was really, really good, well performed, well written, well directed, and honestly, the whole struggle of getting this film together and personal and professional struggle that Zack Snyder went through, it's so admirable. Regardless of your thoughts of the film, it's really admirable to see a filmmaker go through all these loops and we're able to get his full vision out and open to the public. We get to enjoy a 4-hour film. We get to celebrate something that we thought was impossible, you know. So bring light out of any tragedy that comes your way. It's always a beautiful story. So yeah, that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching this review. If you made it to the end, I appreciate it so much. Like, share, subscribe. And Snyder Cuts on HBO Max. Watch it now. Available. It really don't need me to promote it. But another thing is like my heart went out to what happened with Zack Snyder's family. And so I know a lot of people struggle with that. And they struggle, you know, in everyday life because we're all human. And we all are just trying to get through this world as best as possible. And so I really related to what had happened to Zack's family. My heart is like really, really out for them and out for anyone that's having a hard time getting through life, you know. And if you happen to find yourself in that predicament, just know that there's people out there, man. There's people out, even though the world might seem at its loneliest, there's still people out there that would be willing to lend an ear and listen. So with that being said, I'll leave this number on the screen, and literally don't feel afraid to call in because there's people that help and there's people that'll listen. Surprisingly, you know, and you'll never know unless you don't try. You know, so I felt like this is probably like the perfect movie review to probably bring that up, is because this film was made all for that reason. And when I saw at the end of the film it said "For Autumn," I felt that, man. I felt that a lot. And so I'm glad, like everyone, that he was able to bring it out, you know. So, yeah, with that being said, again, like, share, subscribe. I hope you take care of yourself. I hope you're all well out there. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.